The way your money reaches you can say a lot about the direction your finances will take. When your salary is deposited directly into your checking account, no detours, no diversions, you're in control from the very first minute. It's like handing the keys of your house to someone who knows how to take care of it. When the net amount, the one that has already had all taxes and contributions deducted, lands directly in your account, everything becomes clearer and easier to track. You see exactly how much you have available and can plan with more peace of mind. This is different from receiving part of it in cash or splitting it between several accounts right away. A practice that often opens the door to impulsive spending, the kind that happens without thinking, and by the end of the month, no one remembers where the money went. Keeping your salary concentrated in one checking account is like placing your money on a solid foundation. From there, you can organize what will go toward fixed bills, what will be set aside for emergencies, and even what can be invested. It's a small gesture that starts a big habit, gaining clarity about what you earn and how you spend. Before thinking about saving, investing, or paying off debt, the first step is simple and powerful, ensuring that your salary comes clean and straight into your account. No shortcuts, no diversions. Because financial control starts exactly there. If life teaches us anything sooner or later, it's that unexpected events don't send warnings. They just happen. A flat tire on your way to work, a refrigerator that stops working in the middle of summer, an unexpected medical expense, or in more delicate situations, the loss of a job. In these moments, those without financial reserves end up in dangerous territory, relying on loans, credit cards, or help from others. That's why creating an emergency fund is neither a luxury nor an exaggeration. It's a financial shield. It means setting aside an amount that covers 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. We're not talking about your gross salary, but how much you actually need to keep essential bills paid: rent, water, electricity, food, transportation, and healthcare. This calculation is personal, so it's worth sitting down calmly to understand how much you and your family would spend in a month if everything else stopped. Now pay attention to one important detail. This money should not be mixed with your everyday account. If it stays together, the temptation to use it for something other than an emergency increases a lot. The ideal is to keep it in a separate account, easily accessible, but not available with just a debit card swipe. It could be a simple savings account or a digital account with daily liquidity. The goal here is not to make this money grow significantly, but to protect you from life's surprises. And there's more. An emergency fund doesn't need to be built overnight. It can and should be built gradually. You can start by setting aside a small amount each month, consistently, $100, $200, or whatever fits your budget. The important thing is that this amount remains untouched until a real emergency occurs. And you'll know when it happens, because a real emergency leaves no doubt. Having an emergency fund is not just a financial strategy. It's peace of mind. It's sleeping well, knowing that if something unexpected happens, you won't have to resort to expensive or desperate solutions. That's true independence. Those who prepare for the unexpected control the game. And you've already taken the first step by creating that fund. Few things undermine financial growth as much as high-interest debt. It's no exaggeration to say that they work like an open faucet in your account, draining money month after month. Credit cards, overdrafts, personal loans with high rates, all of these mechanisms end up becoming silent traps if not addressed. Urgently, consider the following scenario. You have a $5,000 credit card debt with an annual interest rate of 22%, something common in the United States. If you only pay the minimum each month, it could take more than 15 years to pay off, and you'll end up paying over $10,000 in total. That means more than half of what you paid went solely to interest money out of your pocket with no benefit. Robert Kiyosaki always emphasizes something important. Good debt makes you richer. Bad debt makes you poorer. What does he mean by that? Good debt finances an asset, something that puts money in your pocket in the future, like a rental property or a business that generates income. Bad debt is the one that finances a liability, like impulsive purchases, financed vacations, or consumer goods that quickly lose value. And most of the time, credit card and overdraft interest falls into this second category. Therefore, the strategy here is clear and direct. Eliminate expensive debts first. They are the ones that erode your income the most and prevent you from moving forward. List all your debts and write the interest rate next to each one. Give absolute priority to the ones with the highest interest, even if their outstanding balance is smaller. Another important point: don't fall into the trap of ignoring or postponing payments, thinking the problem will disappear. As Kiyosaki often says, don't run from the numbers, face them head on. What you measure, you control. Seeing the size of the debt and the interest rate clearly is the first step to diffusing the time bomb. Let's look at a practical example. Credit card, $5,000 at 22% per year. Personal loan, $3,000 at 12% per year. Overdraft, $800 at 18% per year. Even though the overdraft has a small balance, the credit card is draining more money because it has the highest rate and balance. It should be your main focus. Paying off these expensive debts is like lifting a weight off your shoulders. Month by month, you'll notice more money left in your budget money that was previously consumed by interest. And with that extra room, you can start building a much more solid financial path. Prioritizing the payment of these debts is more than strategy. It's freedom. It's about regaining control of your money. That's why understanding how money works is the first step to truly building wealth. Oh, and I've prepared a special gift for those watching this video. It's a book with practical tips to organize your finances and take your first steps toward financial freedom. But look, there are only a few copies available, so if you want to guarantee yours, the link is here in the description. Go check it out before it's gone. Now that you understand the importance of eliminating expensive debts, the next question is simple. What's the smartest way to do it? There are two methods that work very well and can be adapted to your way of thinking and acting. The first method is called the snowball. You list all your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of interest rates. You start by paying off the smallest debt first, while continuing to make minimum payments on the others. When that first debt is gone, you take the amount you were using on it and add it to the next debt on the list. This creates a snowball effect, where your payments grow with each debt paid off. The advantage here is that you gain quick motivation. Seeing a debt disappear right at the start boosts your confidence and pushes you to keep going. Robert Kiyosaki often talks about the importance of discipline and emotional control in finances. The snowball method helps with exactly that. It gives you small wins on the way to the bigger goal. The second method is the avalanche. Here you list your debts from the one with the highest interest to the lowest. You start by attacking the debt with the highest interest rate while paying the minimum on the others. When the most expensive debt is done, you take the amount you were using on it and move to the next on the list. The advantage of this method is that you save more money in the long run because you eliminate the debts that drain your income with high interest first. If you have a more rational profile and like seeing the numbers work in your favor, the avalanche method is usually the most efficient. Which method is better? The answer is simple. The best one is the one you can stick with consistently. If you feel more motivated by winning small victories, choose the snowball. If you want to save as much as possible and don't mind taking a bit longer to see results, choose the avalanche. The most important thing is not to stand still or feel lost. Without a strategy, having a clear plan to pay off your debts removes the burden of uncertainty and puts you in control of the game. As Kiyosaki always says, an average plan, well executed, is better than a perfect plan that never gets off the ground. After all the effort to pay off debts, the next step is to avoid falling into the same trap again. There's no point in putting out the fire and then leaving the match lit. The rule here is clear. Only think about taking on new debts after you have built your emergency fund and all expensive debts are completely paid off. Robert Kiyosaki always says that the difference between those who get rich and those who stay stuck is how each one deals with debt. Good debt generates income. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket. If you're not clear about this, you might end up repeating the cycle without realizing it. Imagine this. You've just finished paying off that credit card that had been bothering you. Suddenly, a car financing offer appears with installments of only $150 per month. It seems light and easy, but if you still don't have an emergency fund or are just starting to build your savings, that monthly commitment can quickly become a burden. A small, unexpected expense, like a $500 medical bill or having to replace an appliance, and the credit card gets used again. The cycle starts over. The discipline here is to wait. Consolidate your finances first. If you feel like buying something bigger or investing in something new, pause and ask yourself, do I already have a reserve of 3 to 6 months of expenses saved? Am I free of all high-interest debts? If the answer is no, your priority is still to strengthen your financial foundation. Kiyosaki always says that patience and knowledge go hand in hand in the money game. Avoiding new debt is a way to respect the money you worked so hard to earn. It's also a way to build long-term freedom. Once the foundation is solid, and your emergency fund is in place, then you can calmly assess whether financing or investing makes sense. Avoiding new debt isn't about saying no to everything. It's about saying yes to your financial stability first. After organizing your debts and building your safety net, it's time to think about something many people overlook. The greatest asset you have is not in your bank account or your investments. Your greatest asset is yourself. Investing in your personal and financial development is what will multiply your opportunities and income in the future. Robert Kiyosaki always repeats that financial knowledge is the key that opens doors most people don't even see. He says that traditional education teaches you to work for money, but financial education teaches you to make money work for you. This begins when you decide to use part of what you earn to learn more and improve your skills. Let's look at practical examples. Suppose you set aside $50 per month for courses and books. In a year, that's $600. With that amount, you can take an online course on investing, buy books that teach about real estate, or learn a new skill that increases your value in the job market. A basic accounting course, for example, can help you better understand the finances of your own business. A book on sales can teach you how to negotiate better and close more deals. This means more money coming in the future. Kiyosaki also often talks about the importance of expanding your network. Attending seminars, workshops, or events in your field is a way to learn and, at the same time, meet people who can open professional doors. A seminar on investments can connect you with someone who knows good business opportunities. A marketing course can bring you closer to partners for a new project. The secret here is to understand that every dollar invested in knowledge comes back to you multiplied. And even more importantly, the knowledge you acquire can never be taken from you. Unlike a material good that can break or lose value, what you learn keeps generating returns throughout your life. Now, an important point. It's not about spending money on every course or book that comes your way. The investment needs to be strategic. Ask yourself, Will this help me earn more? Will it give me more security in my career? Will it bring me closer to a goal I have? If the answer is yes, it's a good investment. Kiyosaki often says that poor people spend money to look rich, and rich people spend money to become richer. When you invest in knowledge, you're choosing the path of building, not appearances. Finally, remember that this kind of investment doesn't have to be large at the beginning. Small amounts, applied consistently and intelligently, create a solid knowledge base that no one can take away from you. And that base is what will allow you to advance financially in a consistent and secure way. Now that you've started investing in yourself, it's time to take care of what comes in and goes out of your pocket every month. This is where many people slip even after organizing their debts and starting to learn about money. If you don't control what you spend, all the previous effort can slip through your fingers. Following a realistic and sustainable budget is like building a clear map that shows you exactly where your money is going and how it's working in your favor. And I've prepared a special gift for those watching this video. It's a book with practical tips to organize your finances and take the first steps toward financial freedom. But look, there are only a few copies available, so if you want to secure yours, the link is in the description. Now let's continue. Robert Kiyosaki always emphasizes that poor people work for money, while rich people make money work for them. The budget is precisely the tool that turns money into your employee, not the other way around. Without a budget, you're driving in the dark. You don't know how much you're spending on food, transportation, leisure, and other important expenses. Let's imagine the following scenario. Your net salary is $5,000 per month. Without a clear budget, you could end up spending $200 on food, $800 on transportation, $500 on subscriptions, and small expenses. And when you realize it, the month is over, and you don't know where a large part of your money went. Now imagine that you take some time to create a simple and realistic budget. You note how much you need for fixed expenses like rent, which might be $1,500, food, transportation, and you also set aside money for leisure, investment, and personal development. With this map in hand, you know exactly how much you can spend in each area without losing control. But the secret is not just to create the budget. The most important thing is to stick to it month after month. Robert Kiyosaki often says that financial discipline is more important than high earnings. If you make $5,000 and spend $4,500, nothing is left. Even if your salary increases, the habit of spending everything will continue, and you'll never move forward. That's why the budget needs to be sustainable. In other words, it needs to fit your reality and respect your lifestyle. There's no point in creating a budget so tight that it leaves you unmotivated and you can't maintain it for more than 2 months. The balance lies in setting aside part for responsibilities and another part for things that bring you joy and motivation. This balance is what makes the budget sustainable. A practical tip is to review your budget every month. See where you spent more, where you can adjust, and where you managed to save. Over time, you'll notice that controlling money brings more freedom than restriction. You won't be caught off guard by surprises and will be able to plan your steps much more calmly. Kiyosaki always says that whoever controls the cash flow controls the game. And that's exactly what a good budget does. It puts you in control of your financial life in a conscious and calm way. Now that you already have a plan to control your debts, save and invest in yourself, the next step is to learn to control your spending impulses. It sounds simple, but in practice, many people fall into this trap. Impulse purchases are one of the biggest enemies of many families' financial health, and most of the time, they happen because we don't reflect before spending. Robert Kiyosaki always says that rich people don't buy on impulse. They have a plan, a strategy, and each expense is deliberate. But how can you avoid those unnecessary expenses that seem so irresistible? The key lies in behavior and mindset. Many times we buy things we don't need just because we see a good deal or feel pressured by advertising. For example, you go to the supermarket to buy a few essentials and end up leaving with products that weren't in your plan. This happens often, and it may seem harmless. But if it repeats, it can start to negatively impact your finances. Let's talk about a simple example. Imagine you go into a store and see a promotion for an item you've always wanted, but that, in reality, is not essential for your well-being or your needs. The price is tempting and you give in to the temptation. In the end, you end up spending $100, but you're not really gaining anything of lasting value from that purchase. In the short term, you may feel momentary satisfaction, but that satisfaction will fade quickly. Now, if instead of spending that amount on something unplanned, you had invested it or saved it as part of your financial reserve, it would have generated more security for your future. This is where the mindset of wealthy people comes into play. They avoid this kind of impulsive spending and focus on actions that bring lasting results. They know that money invested wisely will multiply over time, while money spent on unnecessary items disappears quickly. An important tip to avoid impulse purchases is to create a wish list. When you feel the urge to buy something that is not urgent or necessary, write it down and let it wait for a few days. By doing this, you give yourself the necessary time to reflect on whether you really need that item or if it's just an emotional reaction. In the end, you'll realize that many of those desires fade away with time, and you'll stay more focused on your priorities. Another strategy is to avoid the temptation of constantly checking deals. If you sign up for promotional lists or frequently visit discount websites, the chances of being tempted to buy something you don't need increase. Control your access to this information and limit your visits to shopping sites. Furthermore, by making more conscious financial decisions, you start to gain a clearer view of your priorities. Focusing on saving and investing in what truly matters will help you maintain the control and financial freedom you desire. As Kiyosaki always says, the secret to financial freedom is not in earning more, but in spending intelligently and with discipline. Avoiding impulsive spending is a big step toward ensuring that your money is always working for you. In the long run, this type of control will make a huge difference in your ability to achieve your financial goals. The key is to turn your money into a resource that helps you grow, not into a means of satisfying momentary desires. After organizing your daily finances, controlling your spending, and learning to invest in yourself, the next step is to create a plan to secure your long-term financial independence. This is one of Robert Kiyosaki's most important concepts, the idea that true financial freedom comes when you no longer need to work to live, but when money works for you. Many people make the mistake of thinking that financial independence is something distant, achievable only by those who already have a large amount of money. But Kiyosaki teaches us that over time, with the right strategy and financial discipline, anyone can achieve this goal, regardless of how much they earn at the beginning. The key is to think long-term and not be swayed by the temptations of quick gains. A long-term plan starts with setting clear goals. Where do you want to be financially in 10, 20, or 30 years? What kind of lifestyle do you want? What are your financial priorities? The answers to these questions will guide your decisions and help plan your next steps. For example, if your goal is to have a comfortable retirement fund, you can start by investing a percentage of your monthly income in a retirement account, such as a 401k in the United States. Even if it's a small amount at first, the discipline of saving and investing regularly will make a big difference over the years. The secret is to start as soon as possible and be consistent. Additionally, Invest in assets that can generate passive income, such as real estate or stocks of companies that pay dividends. Passive income is what will allow you to achieve financial independence, as it keeps coming into your pocket without the need to actively work for it. Kiyosaki always talks about the importance of investing in assets, not liabilities. The difference is simple. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket, while assets put money into your pocket. Focusing on acquiring more assets is the key to creating a stable and growing source of income. Another important point is to review your plan periodically. Over the years, your circumstances will change, as will your goals and priorities. So, it's important to review and adjust your plan regularly to ensure you're on the right track. What you planned 5 years ago may no longer be relevant now, but if you have a flexible plan, you'll be able to make the necessary adjustments without losing focus. And remember, the journey to financial independence is not a quick or easy path. It requires patience, discipline, and a clear vision of the future. However, every step you take in the right direction will bring you closer to financial freedom and a life without money worries. Kiyosaki always emphasizes that true wealth comes with time, not haste. Therefore, when building your long-term plan, think big, but also be realistic and patient. If you follow the tips we've discussed throughout this journey, you can ensure that your money works for you and that you achieve your financial goals in a calm and secure way. So did you like these tips? I'm sure that if you put this advice into practice, you can transform your financial life for the better. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't waste any more time. Subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any valuable content like this. Oh, and if you know someone who needs to hear this financial advice, share this video with a friend or family member. Let's help more people take control of their financial lives and achieve the freedom they deserve. Like the video, subscribe to the channel and share it. See you next time.